recording. Okay, Chris, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us, and to all our colleagues, Denise, we have Edward, we have Luan, and we have Mistral, who are joining us this afternoon.
Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you here this afternoon. Thanks for coming and devoting part of your afternoon to learning more about Sicily. So this will be my first trip to Sicily. I've certainly never been there before. I have been to Rome, but that's the only other place in Italy. And when Marikar asked for people who might want to make a presentation, I thought, well, all right, so let's do something that's very concrete, all right, so that it's very factual, it's visual. And so I chose to do the flag without ever really looking at the flag. So it's a fascinating flag and very different from typical national or regional flags. And so I'm just going to spend the next 5 minutes or so talking about this and telling you what I've learned since I did some research on this. So here we go. We will often see, as on slide 1 here, the flag of Sicily together with the flag of Italy. However, they are, considered two separate entities. And so it'll be interesting to see once we're actually in Sicily, how many times or in what ways Sicily differentiates itself from actually the main country of Italy. But so this is a view of the flag. Now let's look closer. Okay, so this is the thing. Sicily is a very old, it's been around for a long time, and the various banners and flags that they used there were really based on who was ruling the country at the time. And as we learn more about Sicily itself, obviously we're going to learn that many, many countries and different entities conquered Sicily, made it their sort of like a territory, almost like a colony. And so all of those places or governments or entities had different flags. So the flag we know today, which is the one that I'm showing in this slide, actually came into being as a permanent official flag in the year 2000, which is kind of interesting when you realize that, Sicily is a very, very old country. And so notice in 1071, and I say here the county of Sicily. In this sense, the county of Sicily is essentially a region of Italy. And, the Normans were there. Then we move on to 1130 to 1860. Sicily was a kingdom. And it was a kingdom of various people and various countries. So the flag changed depending on who was king. And I'm not going to go through all those different changes because like many flags, each king used his own personal coat of arms to have the country flag or the county flag as the official flag. So that changed over the years. But finally, in 1948, we had the Sicilian Revolution. And this symbol, which you see in the middle of the flag, is called the Trinacria. And this became the official flag of Sicily. Now, Trinacria means is the guardian of the island. So this symbol is very unusual, and it's called from the Greek triskelies or triskelion, and it's basically three human legs sort of rotating around this central figure, which is the head of Medusa, who is a character from Greek mythology. And she, a female character in the group of what we call gorgons. Now, I'm not going to go into the Greek mythology because I could be here all day and I don't really know that much about it, but this is what we're working with. So we've got this head of Medusa. And of course, Medusa in Greek mythology, most people are familiar with the idea that her hair was actually snakes. Okay, kind of a scary thought. Medusa is portrayed here as having wings. And sometimes in mythology, she is shown with wings, sometimes not. And then the other element here is these more or less branches or stems, which mostly I have seen referred to as wheat, but they could be other plants. And the wheat, the idea of including a symbol of food or agriculture has to do with the fact that Sicily is a very, very fertile agricultural land because of the volcanic soil. So we've got a lot going on here. And I think it's really interesting, and I'm actually really glad I chose this topic because I think we're going to see this symbol all over the place once we get to Sicily, and it's good to know what it is we're looking at. Now, when we look at the country of Sicily, we can see it's shaped like a triangle. So this whole idea of the the TRI is 3. So the idea of the 3 areas, each part of it, and this shows, of course, the cities, but this map shows the elevations. And this is where I think it's important because we can see that in each of these corners, there's a high point. All right. And so that feeds into this idea. There were 3 centers, of course, and then we have the 3 legs of the symbol. So that's a little bit of how we can think of this as the 3 corners of Sicily, the 3 legs. Okay, now let's look at the symbolism that we see here. Okay, the red is the color of Palermo, and the yellow is the part of Corleone. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And these 2 cities started the revolution of what we call the Sicilian Vespers. And again, that's a whole historical event that I'm not qualified to go into, but I'm just telling you about it. So the Triskelies, which would be, these are Greek words, or Triskelion, represents the 3 high points on the island. The Pelorus, which is the northeast, the Pachinus, which is south, and the Lilybium, which is the west. And so the ancient name of Sicily took this into consideration. Trinacria, having 3 heads, or these 3 important points, these 3 promontories that were very, significant in the shape and probably the development of the country. Now, this face of Medusa She's also called a gorgonion, and again, that's, I guess, from the Greek. She's a female. Her hair has these snakes. She's got the wings in this particular representation, which my understanding is a symbol of the supernatural. All right, and this is a classic Greek symbol that dates back to the 4th century BC. And again, the wheat is the symbol of the fertility of the land. Okay, next slide. Now here I've shown you some coins, some ancient Sicilian coins. This is the front, this was the back, but here you see this same idea of the legs and so forth, these 3 points. And so this idea of, and the concept, the symbolism goes way, way back to the centuries before Christ. So now we're going to be seeing this in a lot of places. And it's very interesting as I research this. You know how around Washington, D.C., where we are all guides, we see the American flag everywhere. We see it on government buildings, we see it on hotels, we see it at memorials, we see it at museums, we see it everywhere. But that does not seem to be so much the case in Sicily. And while I believe we'll see the flag quite a bit, it's not as ubiquitous as it is here in Washington or in the whole United States. And I don't know, perhaps some of the rest of you have experienced this. People frequently, when I'm on tours, people from other countries often ask me, why is the American flag everywhere? And I, usually just say, well, we're proud of our country. It's a symbol of, our history, the 13 colonies and so forth. And it's just something we display. Apparently that is not so much the case in Sicily. And so it will be very interesting to see when we are there to what extent and where the flag is displayed. Now, when this flag was designed and made official back in the year 2000, the idea was that it was to be displayed on government buildings and other official entities, but not necessarily on people's homes or commercial establishments or anything else like that. So we'll have fun looking for this and seeing just how the flag is used. Now, of course, just like the American flag, it's been commercialized. Even this whole, the whole idea of the Medusa and the whole symbol here, this I believe is a enamel pin. We've got it here on the, I love Sicily kind of thing, like we're so familiar with here in the States. Here's a man's necktie with a flag on it. We've got a woman's a charm bracelet here. Of course, the ubiquitous T-shirt. I like this one, the color and the way the flag is and the symbol is sort of incorporated into this heart shape. And finally, something I think will be involved a lot of is, just socializing and having a great time eating and enjoying the beverages that they have there. And I just really think this is quite an attractive tumbler, actually, having this script. And again, this representation of the flag in a heart shape. So finally, here we go. In just a few weeks, we'll be climbing steps like this and going up wherever this is. I'm sure that Marikar knows, but until then, bon voyage, and I'll see you there.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that very informative little presentation. This viaggio is really, I believe, Sicilian in dialect. So in the Italian, it's viaggio.
Viaggi.
Viaggio, but the viaggio could be a Sicilian dialect. So interesting that you included that. And I don't know where this could be Taormina, because I've never been to Sicily myself. So these steps, because I've been looking at where we're going, and the steps in Taormina, there's plenty of them. So that could be found there. It would be interesting to give us like a, what you call it, like a when we have to discover, like how many flags do we see? You give us some discovery questions, like we do for our groups, and find out, where have you spotted the Sicilian flag?
Right, and I think that's something that we can all do as the sort of U.S. And DC delegation. And I also think it'll be interesting to see, how people capture the symbol in their photographs, and also in the various kinds of souvenirs and so forth that they purchase to bring home to remember their trip. But anyway, I really appreciate the opportunity to show you this. And as I think you can tell from my presentation, there's a lot of depth here. And people should, feel free to explore that to find out more. So thanks a lot for the opportunity, Mark. I appreciate it.
Sure. We have questions from the floor. Ed, what did you learn?
Yes. I was wondering if we'll see any Italian flags or if we'll only see the Sicilian flag in Sicily.
Well, this is a very good question. It's really an excellent question,
Yeah.
Ed, and I appreciate it, because when I was looking for, I really like to Google different combinations of words and things, and it was actually quite difficult to find a picture, a photograph of the Sicilian flag on a government building alone. Now, our very first slide, we go back to that slide 1.
Yes,
where,
I remember.
Let me go back. Pardon all this, everybody. I don't know how to go back quickly. But it seems like almost everywhere that the Sicilian flag is displayed, the flag of Italy is there too. And also the flag of the European Union, which all of us know, of course, from Embassy Row, is the dark blue with the gold stars on it. So I think this whole idea of what is Italian, what is Sicily, how do they come together, is something we want to learn a lot about. And it wasn't until I did this presentation that I actually learned that Sicilian is is it a dialect?
Yes.
Mark, or
Yes.
Ed, perhaps you could chime in that there are different words for the same thing, as you pointed out on my last slide. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and we also have the guides. So we have the expert Sicilian guides in Syracuse, in Palermo. We will have the experts of the place. Okay,
Great.
they're the ones, and we can ask them. We can ask all of our questions. It's good to prepare. What comes into mind and what we see. Again, all the top visual priorities that are so vibrant in the city. It's a very colorful city.
Right, and the flag reflects that. It's a very colorful flag, and the design, it's hard to miss. And you can see how people would look at that and say, what in the world is that? And so I think now we know a little bit more about it. Ms. Straw, do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to make a comment here, and I thank you for your presentation. It truly gave meaning what I saw here in Shirlington, Virginia side. There is a restaurant which is Osteria de Danino, and it's an Italian restaurant, and it has this flag that you just presented to us. And then as soon as you walk into the restaurant, it has in the top wall and has the three legs and the Medusa face. And I was, it was beautiful to see something like that, very impactful in as soon as we walk into the restaurant. But I didn't know what was the meaning. I knew that it was the flag of Sicily, but I didn't know any of the history. So thank you for giving us that, in depth on it. So it was great presentation. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. I learned a lot. And also, of course, one of the things about guiding is whenever you start exploring one of these topics, you learn so much and you realize how much you don't know. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else, Luann?
No,
Or
just speaking of dialects, I learned that there are many different dialects or separate languages, and the language was really unified by Dante's Inferno and all his writings. And so the major Italian, which is the major dialect, the official Italian, is based on the Tuscany language. And a lot of Italians didn't really learn the formal Italians until the television and internet came out and everybody was exposed to formal Italian.
wow.
that's right.
We're gonna-
And Dante is the father of Italian language.
Yeah, yes.
Dante Alighieri.
Like Martin Luther unified the German language when he translated the Bible into German.
Yeah, but that's good point about Dante. So the classics are very important to learn. With my Italian groups, I try to quote the Inferno. If I like a quote like Beatrice, who is one of the heroine in Dante, is the first tourist guide. I call her a tourist guide because she leads the path. Beatrice, and I just so connect to that I sometimes quote to my Italian guests and they really like it.
No, that's fascinating.
So,
Yeah.
Mark, do you think we'll mostly be hearing, as in our dealings with the local people there, will we be hearing the Sicilian dialect, or will we be hearing Italian?
No, English. I mean, the tours, you mean, or the language itself? The
Well, I
language
guess,
in
I guess I don't know. I guess both. Yeah.
The tours are all in English. The World Federation speaks the English language. That is the official language. Okay,
Sure.
so all the tours are all in the English language. Now, the dialect and it's mostly Sicilian. A lot of the people speak Sicilian, like the president of the Guide Association, Carlo. He doesn't even speak English. That's the problem, so he doesn't. He will communicate in Italian. He will sing to us, O Sole Mio, and all that, or Santa Lucia. That's all very Italian. I mean, you're really going into the deep heart of Italy. So, it's good to learn. That's why we had the Italian classes. And I think there were some who joined the classes that was going on. Because you were not with us the first time we did this in September, right, Chris?
No, I wasn't. I was
The
I
professor,
was in Rome. I was actually in Rome.
yeah, the
So
professor
anyway.
gave special classes to the guides who wanted to, just to get into the Sicilian way of communicating. And so I think they're all done by now. It was an immersive course, but it's true. You will hear the dialect a lot in the shops. Many people don't speak English in the shops in where we're going. They will open only for us because winter now it's closed. But the mayor decided to open it up, for us for the conference. So we will have nice little souvenirs to buy. The porcelain heads. That is so Sicilian, those little heads. So
Okay.
We'll look forward to that. What about Denise? Any questions, Denise?
Not really. I liked your presentation, Chris. It was excellent. No, I've been studying on my own. I've been reading lots of books. I'm watching YouTubes. I'm, just trying to familiarize myself as much as possible, and really looking forward to having this experience, especially with people that do the same thing that I do. So it'll be something very fun. I've been on the guild trips before, little trips, but nothing large like this.
Right, right. That's good, Denise. Thank you. And Luann, do you want to add anything to what Chris presented?
First of all, thank you, Chris. And I would just say, as far as the language is concerned, having spoken to my Sicilian friends who are from Sicily, what they say is that they're starting to have the children study English in kindergarten, and this has been for a while, that they are supposed to speak, like Ed said, the Tuscan dialect, Tuscan Italian, the official language, but most of the time they'll communicate to each other in Sicilian, in the Sicilian dialect. So they will communicate with each other. And she said that it's almost impossible for us, having studied anything, to understand them, because even she, a native speaker of Italian, had to study Sicilian to understand them.
Well, that's
Wow.
not too encouraging.
No, but don't worry, because they should be speaking to us either in English or the official Tuscan dialect, the official
Okay.
Tuscan dialect, which is the official language of Italy. She said they can speak it. They're a little bit provincial about it, but they can speak it. It's probably like the Parisians. They can speak it. They just want to give you a little bit of a hard time about it.
That's
But-
true. I have experienced that.
But I realized that so many of the words that I have heard in Sicilian, I grew up with, and I never knew that. I thought that they were just like our own family's versions of Italian words. But now I'm seeing that no, they're Sicilian words.
That's right. Yeah. And for those of us who are going tomorrow, the owner, the son's owner of Il Canale is from Sicily. And he will tell us his story about the American dream, how they immigrated from Agrigento, the little town in Sicily, to Georgetown. From little town to Georgetown. That's his story. And the son will be the voice of the father. The father is in Florida right now. So Alessandro is the manager of the restaurant Il Canale, and he will share that story. So we're looking forward to that. And the father wrote a book. He was interviewed, and he wrote a book about the pizza man. So he started Il Canale by a pizza restaurant in Georgetown. So what a story, right? We're here, we're going to Italy, and here's a story of a Sicilian who comes to Georgetown. And that's what he will share with us tomorrow. Very kind. And we will eat. What are the three things we're going to eat tomorrow? The cannoli, okay, which is very, very Sicilian. Cannoli, so rich with calories, of course. and what else are we going to eat? Luann, you remember?
I don't know. No, I don't remember. I'm sure has to be pasta in there or some type of seafood.
Yeah, it's all going to be tasting. So it's little bites of the Sicilian food. That's what we're going to have. It will be three kinds of food that we're going to have tomorrow. It's all in my poster. But we're looking forward to that. And I think with that, if anybody has any questions about the conference, I'm going to stop the recording so that we can just share this part.